Alright, hey everybody, I'm going to be going over the siding of the thigh pieces today in this video. The siding that we're using here is, it's basically rubber car floor matting, getting in a big sheet, and I cut it down already. You're going to need 4 pieces, too small, too large. Basically to get the length for both of them, take the length of right here, and then the length of right here, and that's going to be the length that you're gonna end up needing. I also have some 2-inch the heavy Velcro. I cut it in half. I'm only going to be using an inch of each. I'm using the heavier duty stuff. That's why I cut it down instead of using my normal 1-inch Velcro. I went ahead and already cut my matting down, and I cut my Velcro to size as well. One thing you're definitely going to need to do on this floor matting before you try and glue anything is you need to do an acetone wash on this stuff. There's some sort of mold release that comes off from the factory that's on these things, and if you do not give it a really good acetone scrubbing, your glue's not going to stick to it. So, and I don't mean like nail polish remover. Get the heavy duty acetone. Give it a really good bath. Scrub it with a brush if you need to, or a rag, but really get the acetone down into those grooves, because you're going to need it. So since I've already measured everything out, the way that I did this is I took the inside portion of here. I just measured with a soft thing. So if I take it down here at the bottom, just right above that lip, we're looking at about 6 inches or so. And then I would take the other side of that leg, measure the other portion right there, and we're looking at about 8 inches. I'm going to take my 6 and my 8, and I'm going to come up with 14, and then I'm going to add whatever else I need for my leg right here measures, and then I'm going to add that, do some math. And that's the width of the bottom portion, and then more importantly, you're going to do the same thing at the top. So you're looking at 9 inches or so, 9.5 inches here on top, and about 9.5 inches there on top there as well. So we're looking at 19 inches right there. I added my thigh size and everything. I came out to about a 3-inch gap that I'd need to fill on both sides, so that I was missing 6 inches, right? So since you need 2, you need 1 for each side, it's a 3-inch gap for each. But I also added another 2 inches just to give myself some flexibility. If my measurements are just a little bit off, or if I want to make it fit tighter or looser, I'm giving myself an extra 2 inches of gap room on my stuff. So I end up going with about a 5-inch gap, and these are obviously going to be tailored to yourself. You're going to need to figure out your own measurements. But I left myself a 5-inch gap, and then I cut an additional 1 inch. I gave myself an additional 1 inch on each, so I have a 7-inch wide piece, right? Because I need an inch for my Velcro on both sides, so that's some cut room right there. And then I gave myself an inch on either side, basically, for adjustment room. So I only needed 3 inches. I only needed a 3-inch gap, but I cut a 7-inch wide piece of matting to accommodate for all of that. So we're looking at about a 7-inch wide piece of matting, and that'll allow us a lot of room. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and glue these pieces together, or glue the Velcro onto the floor matting. You're definitely going to want to use glue because the stick on this industrial Velcro will not stick well to this floor matting, even though it's really nice Velcro and it's sticky. The rubber on rubber is not doing well, and we've experimented with a lot of different types of glues and everything. If you want to, you can rivet this stuff on. If you want to just get some sew-on Velcro and rivet all of your Velcro onto it, that's fine. You can do that. If you want to use snaps, you could use snaps. You could put snaps on the whole thing, on the matting, and just snap it onto your armor if you want. I like Velcro because it gives you some adjustment room. It makes sure it's going to sit nice and flat no matter what part you're on. It's sticky. So, alright, so I want to make sure I go all the way out to the edges. So I'm not actually squirting more glue, I'm just spreading it with the tip. I'm going to go all the way out to the edges because you don't want it to come up in any parts. So, alright, so I got my glue. I'm going to attempt not to glue myself, but it's almost inevitable when you're working with this amount of glue. Yep, there we go, glued myself. Acetone will get the glue right off too if you are having trouble getting the glue off of yourself. Alright, that looks pretty good. Give it a couple squirts from each side. Push it down. Make sure that stuff stays. You know, you can be fairly heavy on the glue here because since this surface right here is rigid, you're going to want that glue to kind of go down into the little bits and everything. So that's nice and on there. I'm going to do the other side. I'm going to do the other mat, and then I'm going to put them on. All right, now that I got everything nice and glued together, I got both my small mat and my larger mat with my Velcro on it. Everything's had a good amount of time to dry, and it's pretty darn stuck on there. So the next step is to go ahead and cut some of the hard side Velcro to fit on here. So you're going to need a piece here, and then the same way on the other side. On the front, it's pretty easy. We're just going to use this, use the sticky stuff on the industrial Velcro to hold it. It should be fine. If you want to glue it, go ahead and glue it. It doesn't really matter. Just preference, and if it comes off, you can always glue it back down later. If you can get the backing off, that's usually pretty helpful. There we go. And we'll go ahead and lay that down as straight as we can, just kind of going up to the edge on one, and obviously putting it on so that it hides behind all the edges. You don't want any parts sticking out. If you have a part sticking out, just go ahead and readjust it before you stick it down all the way. Yeah, you know that stuff sticks. You get a nice air bubble that won't come out, huh? There we go. Just popping a hole in it, get rid of the air bubbles. Alright, now I'm going to stick my other side on to here, same way, but on the back sides of of here, you'll notice when you come down all the way, you have a good amount of it sticking out. So we're just going to go ahead and do a rough trim on that before we glue it down. It'll make it a whole lot easier to do later. Let's see. Let's see if that did it. Okay. That's good. Nice and hidden. Then it goes down all the way I want it to go. Really, you only need the matting to kind of come down to the top portion of here. You can have it come all the way down if you want to, but in most cases it's hidden, and even if it's not noticeable. So I'm going to go ahead and stick that one on into here, and same thing with the larger strip. The larger strip's going to have some poking out the bottom and at the top, so we're just going to go ahead and trim those down.